Ladies and gentlemen, RosterWatch Nation, welcome back to the epic RosterWatch Podcast, brought to you by RosterWatch.com. I'm Alex Dunlap here with the Trashman for a Week 7 waiver edition of the podcast. Of course, we're also on YouTube, so if you guys have questions in the YouTube chat, let us know. We'll be happy to get to them, especially for the end of the show when we talk about players who we might want to be dropping for some of these other guys. Yeah, and one other quick thing just before we get started, if you guys could please like and subscribe to this and YouTube. And if you're listening to on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, if you could please leave us a rating and a review. It helps a ton. If you like this content, if you appreciate it, you know, us doing it every week, the best way to let us know is by leaving a comment and a review in the Apple Podcasts or in the Spotify review section. Certainly do appreciate it. Harry Snowman, so good to see you, my friend. One of the YouTubers that one of the YouTube people in the chat I've actually met in real life. Michael Y also in the chat. Tyler Finley, so good to see you too, brother. Maybe I'll be seeing you in the next stream after this, talking about the Longhorns. Go Gin. Good to see you in here. I will add Marvin Mims onto that, but I was already asked about Kendre Miller, so we'll talk about him. I'll just say it right off the bat. There's no way that I'm dropping Kendre Miller right now. I'm not going to do it. Not unless I'm in a 10-team league, but even in 12-team leagues where I only have like 5 bench spots, I'm staying the course with Kendre Miller. I feel like it's going to be the right thing to do. He's just way too talented a guy to let go to your league mate who's going to swindle you like I got swindled when I dropped Odell Beckham in week 6 or 7 of his rookie year, and Byron picked him up and murdered me in the championship. So, Trashman, what the hell's going on there, brother?
I'll just let Michael Y know that I am very much a gentleman.
Okay.
There are at least a handful of young ladies you could ask.
Yeah, well, it's like he's a gentleman in that you wouldn't. The only reason that you wouldn't want Trashman dating your daughter or your sister or something, it's not because he'll be rude to them or he'll be mean to them, but he will make them pay for him, and so that's the one thing that you don't like. Yeah, it's so good to see all you guys. We can just answer some of these questions. Tyler Finley's asking Jaleel McLaughlin or Zack Evans PPR dynasty. Is that for this week? Or is that just as a whole? Because Tyler Finley, I don't have rankings for this week. I just now made the matchup tool, so I don't know. Off the top of my head, I would say, Zack Evans gets the number 5 matchup of the week this week in Pittsburgh. He has a chance to get all the touches. It doesn't mean he's the top waiver pickup, as we'll get to.
Zack Evans versus McLaughlin this week?
Yeah, Zack Evans.
To me, that's Zack Evans. Yeah. He's going to get the start.
Yeah, but I don't feel like he's the top waiver pickup unless you just really this week just need to win. And if that's the case, and Roschon Johnson is still out there, Roschon Johnson still has to be the top pickup on the waiver wire, and he's available in just, we set the threshold at 55. I was looking in just Yahoo earlier. He's available in 52% of leagues. So, or rostered in 50. Is he rostered in 52 or available in 52?
Rostered.
Okay, but listen, he's close enough to where I still put him on this sheet because I wanted people to know if he's out there, you need to go get him over the rest of these players. I think, and we'll get to your questions, I promise, but I think that since he's asking about Evans, it sort of segues into he's going to be a lot of the talk.
Evans this week?
Yeah.
McLaughlin maybe long term. That's the.
Yeah, here's the thing about Zack Evans. Zack Evans for the Rams, the reason why people are talking about him is because we had Ronnie Rivers have the PCL injury, Kyron Williams, he's going to be out for probably just 1 week. They're talking about now with a low ankle deal, and so it's going to be Zack Evans and Royce Freeman as the only guys who they're going to have available as far as the Rams this week. As we've seen, the Rams are a capable offense; they can get into scoring position. Zack Evans, though, has been just a complete disappointment after basically. Man, there was a time whenever the recruiting junkies and the recruitniks and even some schools had Zack Evans over Bijan. Can that even be right? Over
Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah, I know that even like good college college running back coaches, guys like Stan Drayton that went on from Texas to go get a head coaching job. I think where's Drayton now? Like Tulane or something. But man, he was at Ohio State with Zeke Elliott and all these, like he coached Bijan, all these good guys. He at first he wanted Zack Evans the most out of all those guys. He was an unbelievable prospect, and he's a great physical specimen, but he couldn't beat out Kendre Miller and guys like Emori DeMarcado and stuff at TCU. He goes to Ole Miss. He can't win a real, can't go on to be any kind of anything near what he was kind of hoping to be. Bad draft process. He's not a good interview. It's like he ends up on an NFL practice squad. I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to come in and save your season. He doesn't have that talent profile. But for 1 week,
he might save your week.
What?
I said he might save your week.
Yeah. I mean, and in Pittsburgh, I think it's crazy to say, but Pittsburgh is actually looking like it's going to be the number 5 matchup for opposing runners this week on the initial one of the matchup tool. Now that'll update through the course of the week, but Trashman, that thing doesn't it'll update for small injuries or little tiny movements in the line that could change certain stuff with game script, but it's not going to move from like 7 to 10 or to 7. It could move to 7. It's not going to move to like 10, right? Or it could move up to 3. But a top 5 matchup on the week for Zack Evans. If you need to win this week, I think that you're fine spending 15% of your fab budget, something like that. 20% if you really, really need a win. Let's see. We'll answer the Marvin Mims, Kendre Miller stuff later. I've already answered the Kendre Miller stuff. Don't drop him if you can any way avoid that. Tyler Finley, good to see you. Amari or Ridley rest of season. Oh, goodness. Calvin Ridley for sure. Your season is trashy when you might have to depend on CJ Beathard as your QB. Well, geez, I hope that that's in the 14-team super flex. My God.
You might be better off just not fielding a quarterback this week.
This Kip C, that's a good question for Byron in the trade cast. He's struggling so far this season. Wants to know when to make a consolidation or make a liquidation trade. Byron this week will probably start talking about liquidation trades because it's about that time of year, and we're starting to, unfortunately, get that kind of question from a few of our users, and that's how it goes, man. Sometimes injuries have been tough this year. I have one team where I'm dealing with it, and it's just I know how bad it stinks to be 2-3 or
and one league. I've lost my top 3 picks have been out the majority of the season. And
don't even get me started with. I mean,
I lost my number 1 pick in that league.
Tyler Finley saying that Jaleel McLaughlin's on his team. Zack Evans is on waivers. I don't know. I think that Jaleel McLaughlin, I think he's a rookie who they like, and Samaje Perine is so old, and Javonte Williams is always going to be there. But
I just don't know that he's going to run that job out right over Javonte. It just
I don't want Zack Evans in Dynasty. I don't want him in Dynasty. I don't think he's gonna. He's just. I would keep Jaleel McLaughlin. Let's see. New Orleans plays. Harry Snowman says what? New Orleans plays the Giants at LAR and at TB. That looked a lot better a few weeks ago for sure. Any news on Roschon? No, there's no news on Roschon, but I think for him, it's like he's got to get through the protocol. He will have had now what? It was a Thursday, so it was basically like a long bye week, and then he didn't get through, and now it's like if he doesn't get through this week, I'll begin to be considerably worried about his long-term health and whether he should even continue playing football at all. You don't want to stay out for a concussion for almost 3 weeks. That sounds really, really scary. Let's see. Should I trade A. Jones and Ridley for Saquon or Kamara? I mean, I feel like you'd probably be I'm not sure. The Giants look.
The rest of your team.
The Giants look broken. I'd have to see it doesn't feel like a complete smash, right? It doesn't. I'd have to know the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Jay Ford, Connor, and Bijan are going to win leagues this year. 15 through. God, I think Bijan. If there's any way you can go buy Bijan right now, I would go do it for sure. Let's see. Michael Mayer. I think it tied in. I mean, he's probably going to go all right. So Michael Mayer, we can talk about that. I don't think he's the pickup of the week.
I don't think he's pickup of the week. But if the Texans were playing this week, Schultz would be the pickup of the week.
I was talking to you guys in our group text with Cody and Byron about Byron talking about Mayer, and I said, man, I know he's been ticking up a little bit last week and then this week, but it feels like this week that was just Josh McDaniels saying, I know what Belichick's going to do. He's going to take Devontae Adams away from us. He's going to try and take the run away from us. He's going to sit back and say, hey, why don't you beat me with somebody like Michael Mayer or one of your tight ends or Hunter Renfrow or who knows what else, right?
I mean, I get that.
He's just like, this is the week to get him going.
The week before, he'd actually gone up in snaps too. So I think they are making a concerted effort to get Meyer on the field.
Okay. Let's see. Harry Snowman says it's his birthday. Hey, good for you, brother. Good for you. Congratulations.
You're about to start getting ready for an evening out. What is it? Well, I
Harry Snowman.
That makes sense.
I forgot. I didn't think he lived too far away. You writing in from London or something like that, Snowman? Let's see. All right. So a bunch of these questions. So people are asking on it's a bunch of Kendre Miller stuff. I'll add this one. I'm gonna say so from Alex K.
I don't think the question is whether you drop Kendre Miller. It's whether you pick up Jamal Williams.
Should I trade Mixon and Higbee for Rachaad White and George Kittle? I wouldn't trade a bucket of beans for Rachaad White right now.
Never.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Running back. So we will just kind of go over this quickly as we always do. Of course, you can find the whole waiver wire cheat sheet that Trashman puts together that I do a little bit of quality control on, but mainly kind of leave it up to Trashman. Only make a couple of big executive decisions on this thing. Trashman at the very top, we just have a bunch of guys that have kind of been on here for a while, right? With the exception of Zack Evans, right? It feels like Jeff Wilson.
Elijah Mitchell hasn't been up that long.
Yeah. So Elijah Mitchell's up because it's like we're gonna have a week without McCaffrey, right? With the oblique. So that then you say to me, I mean, is it just me or does Jordan Mason look better than Elijah Mitchell though? I know that Mitchell's been hurt, but Mason's been in there. Feels like every other. I mean, I know Siege got Jordan Mason at 12-1 to score a touchdown this last week, and I'm like, you only got 12-1, and he's like, well, have you watched him? And
I feel like when Mitchell was, kind of in the midst of that running back stew that was before Christian McCaffrey got there, he was actually pretty good.
I think I think that either one of them is probably fine. But Elijah Mitchell, even going back to college, was always hurt. He's been hurt. He's been banged up. Jordan Mason's actually looked kind of good. He's been in there actually, doing some things, scoring some touchdowns. You know what I mean? All these things we're talking about. We're talking about short-term rental types of plays, right? We're not talking about long-term types of plays here with the Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell. What Elijah Mitchell means most for in fantasy is just when he's inactive, it means, you can feel much more comfortable playing Christian McCaffrey in DFS, right? Because you know that there's not that many other guys who they can give the touches to. That's the way that I think about Elijah Mitchell. Last week, Elijah Mitchell played 11% of snaps. He got -3 total yards. Jordan Mason played 24% of snaps. After McCaffrey went out, had five touches, no targets. Neither one of them had a target. 27 total yards and a touchdown. I just, I don't know. I would. Trashman has Elijah Mitchell ahead. I think it's probably fine, right? They've been more comfortable in the past using him in a pseudo feature role, as Trashman was saying before. What did you call it? A running back stew? That sounds like something that you might go beat somewhere with your hands. You're so disgusting, Trashman.
There are a lot of Ethiopians that would disagree with you.
Look, Tyjae Spears needs to be owned, right? Kareem Hunt at this point is looking like he needs to be owned, kind of. I don't think that means that Jerome Ford just stinks and you don't need to play him anymore. But anytime, in a game like that versus a team like San Francisco, you see Kareem Hunt go off for 3 targets, 15 total touches, 71 yards and a touch. It was only 37% of snaps. He's still getting out-snapped by Jerome Ford, but Kareem Hunt is still kind of some shell of what Kareem Hunt used to be. And I think you can do a whole lot worse if you've been, Golly. I mean, at this point, if I had guys like Rashad White or Miles Sanders, or Sanders was hurt last week, but any of these real underperformers, you start thinking about getting a guy like Kareem Hunt in a good matchup. Let's see. There's Tyler Finley. I know you probably haven't been watching this show as long as some of the rest, but we don't have rankings up yet. We have a rankings model that we have to get through, right? And a ranking sheet, and we can't do that ranking sheet until we make the matchup tool and get the matchup algorithm. And so now I've done the matchup algorithm. My next thing I do after I do football with friends is I'll send these guys the ranking sheet and we'll start with the rankings. But our first run of rankings will be tonight, when it's ones that we actually input from our model into. So we don't really have very many sit-start questions usually on this show because it's still kind of early on Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon. Trashman, any of these other guys a little bit farther down the sheet that you wanted to hit on? I mean, Craig Reynolds. Golly, do I not want that guy?
You may not want him, but he's getting touches. I mean, there's a chance Jahmyr Gibbs comes back this week.
Yep.
And I don't know. Even so, I don't know that Gibbs gets the first 2 down role over Reynolds.
Did Ezekiel Elliott look a little bit good to you for just maybe like a one small little part of a series of snaps for New England in that last game? I mean, it's like I was like, man, that looks a little like the old Zeke. You know, even Romo was kind of saying it. I think it was Romo. Yeah, I think it was Romo.
I mean, Latavius Murray, now that Damian Harris is gone.
Yeah, but now they're saying that that's a concussion. But since when do you get to – I mean, that's a neck or something and a stinger probably and a concussion too. So that's Michael Weiss saying Trashman has rankings. He just throws darts at a dartboard. It's probably Trashman just plays pin the tail on the donkey rankings and stuff. Okay.
I want to play in a league with some of these guys.
I'm not sure that they want to play in a league with. I'm not sure that they want to play in a league with you, Trashman.
Alex knows. Byron knows.
Yeah, man.
People talk a lot of trash until they get in the trenches with me.
Yeah, that's true. And what makes it even worse is the kind of players that he starts and benches and stuff like this. Like, how are you benching this guy and starting this dude against me? Like Curtis Samuel over Devontae Smith, and it turns out to be right, and you end up getting swindled. Speaking of Curtis Samuel, he's probably one of the top waiver ads at wide receiver this week. Byron was saying he needs to be towards the top, but I just looked and I couldn't believe that Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's been dropped enough to where he can go on the waiver wire cheat sheet. I'm going out and I'm getting JSN, dude. I'm getting my guy. Right?
Why not?
Why not? I mean, he got up to 5 targets last week. Right?
He didn't do much with him, but
but it doesn't matter. He's seen the opportunity, and you know how unbelievably sick he is. He also had one play called back. Like I'm telling you, man, it's JSN. Are we being like? Let's not get crazy here. If you play in any kind of competitive league, there's no way that anybody dropped JSN, dude. There's no way. Right?
I think people have dropped him.
Okay.
I mean,
he should.
I mean, like if he's on the waiver wire cheat sheet, then then he can't be that owned.
Well, he's not. He's only owned in 48% of leagues now. But
right. People have dropped him.
Okay, listen. We want JSN. If he's available, go out and get him. Unless you really need the running back help this week. God, I wish JSN was available in one of my leagues. Also, Curtis Samuel, Josh Downs, all these guys probably need to be picked up. Rashee Rice at this point needs to be picked up. I hate to admit it, but Rashid Shaheed looking like he probably needs to be picked up. Derek Carr just loves that guy. What a Derek Carr.
You know how I feel about him. Yeah. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yes.
I'm starting to really see an uptick in snaps and targets. I think he had 8 targets this past week.
And the thing about Wan'Dale too is he's just good. He's just good at this crazy game that we call football, right? Only getting 65% of the snaps, but 8 targets, and they're on such high percentage little passes. Even if this offense is broken, they can use him as an extension of the run. Tyler Finley's asking about Jalen Hyatt. We are going to address Jalen Hyatt. Somebody asked us on Roster Watch if they can drop him. So we'll talk about that. Anything else at wide receiver, Trashman, before we talk about tight end and then talk about these possible ads and drops?
Jawan Jennings, I may be an outside chance at some DFS value.
Hold on, Juwan Jennings?
Yeah, Debo can't go.
I think I'd rather pick up somebody like Ronnie Bell or one of these dudes, but like someone young, but that's fine. And then tight end, you mentioned Michael Mayer, Dalton Schultz, Logan Thomas airballed last week, but it's like he should be fine until he gets hurt, and he will get hurt. And then Jonnu Smith, I mean, what can you say about the guy at this point? It feels weird clicking him and putting him in there, especially now that Kyle Pitts is kind of
squint enough, he looks just like Pitts.
Yeah,
But
I mean, like last week he only had only one less target. They both played 55% of snaps, both scored. Week 5, let me look at week 5, and then week 5, Jonnu Smith. Now that was the Kyle Pitts 11 target monster. But in that same game, Jonnu Smith 7 targets, 6 receptions, 67 yards, 64% of total snaps. That's more than Kyle Pitts played. So definitely, Jonnu's a guy who you can look to get in. Trashman, do you want to talk about some of these players, who they can drop and who they should be who they should be keeping?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Here we go. Kenneth Gainwell. Can you drop him?
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
Jalen Hyatt.
Yep.
Devontae Parker.
Yep.
Zamir White.
Yeah. Yesterday.
Chris Brooks. I guess that was somebody picked him up just to see if he might do something this week.
Yeah, no.
Okay. All right, a few little bit harder ones here. Luke Musgrave.
I'm not married to Luke Musgrave. I think there are other options that are just as valid.
Keontae Ingram to pick up one of these, like a Roschon, Zack Evans, Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, somebody in that top tier for sure.
Gerald Everett, who scored last night, so generally people wouldn't be that, but he kind of hasn't been good. Donald Parham's been eaten into
I can drop Everett.
I'd like to know who you're dropping him for. I mean, the grass ain't always greener at tight end this year, but I mean,
right.
I get
Jonnu or maybe a Meyer if you're looking, for some long term, or I mean, Dalton Schultz after this bye. I mean, Dalton Schultz has scored in his last 3 games.
Right. Okay. Let's see. How about Marvin Mims? Somebody asked in the chat.
I don't want to drop Mims.
I don't either. Especially because especially if they trade Judy or Sutton.
It looks like
speaking of Judy, can you drop Judy?
I want to see where he lands first.
Okay. I got Kendre Miller. The answer is no. Gus Edwards.
You wouldn't drop Miller for Roschon?
I might drop him for Roschon Johnson. That's it. Maybe Tajay, but that's it. Gus Edwards. Hold on.
Whoa, hold on.
Is Julio this true?
Just broken. Julio Jones signing with Philly?
Wait, hold it. I don't know. That sounds like a gag. And even if it's not, I mean, have you seen Julio Jones lately?
No.
I have. Yeah, 7 years. That's from Schefter. He's reunited with his Titans teammate AJ. You remember Titans Julio Jones, right?
Huh.
Very, very bad. Very, very bad. Okay.
Bad news for Olamide Zacchaeus.
He is for sure. Can you drop Gus Edwards? You just keep trying to dodge this one. You don't want to drop him yet.
No.
Okay. Javonte Williams.
I mean, you can for a Roschon.
No, man. I wouldn't do that yet.
For a Roschon, you wouldn't drop him for a Roschon?
God, Denver's so bad.
I mean, I don't know if Williams has scored this season.
Javonte just has.
He's averaging like 7 points.
I think I personally hold Javonte at least another week or two. Just kind of see what something's got to happen. All right, DeAndre Hopkins,
No.
Rashad White,
Trade him. Try to.
can the person drop him? No, just trade him.
No.
And this one is the one I don't get. Somebody asked it in the chat. Are people wanting to drop Dameon Pierce?
I could see why, but I'm not.
But they can't do it, right?
No. I think they'll come out stronger after the